Airport.
We arrived at the airport 2 hours early. We arrived at the airport 2 hours early. The airport is very busy today. The airport is very busy today. They're going to the airport to catch their flight. They're going to the airport to catch their flight.
Flight.
Our flight departs at 3 p.m. Our flight departs at 3 p.m. The flight was delayed due to weather. The flight was delayed due to weather. They're checking the flight status online. They're checking the flight status online.
Airline.
Which airline are you flying with? Which airline are you flying with? The airline lost our luggage. The airline lost our luggage. They're booking with a different airline. They're booking with a different airline.
Terminal.
Our flight leaves from Terminal 2. Our flight leaves from Terminal 2. The terminal is very modern and spacious. The terminal is very modern and spacious. They're walking to the other terminal. They're walking to the other terminal.
Check-in.
We need to go to check-in before security. We need to go to check-in before security. The check-in counter opens at 6 a.m. The check-in counter opens at 6 a.m. They're doing online check-in to save time. They're doing online check-in to save time.
To check in.
We need to check in at least 1 hour before departure. We need to check in at least 1 hour before departure. They checked in online yesterday. They checked in online yesterday. He's going to check in at the counter. He's going to check in at the counter.
Check-in counter.
The check-in counter is on the second floor. The check-in counter is on the second floor. They're waiting in line at the check-in counter. They're waiting in line at the check-in counter. The check-in counter closes 45 minutes before departure. The check-in counter closes 45 minutes before departure.
Boarding pass.
Don't forget your boarding pass. Don't forget your boarding pass. They printed their boarding passes at home. They printed their boarding passes at home. The boarding pass shows the gate number. The boarding pass shows the gate number.
Passport.
You need your passport to travel internationally. You need your passport to travel internationally. They checked their passports at immigration. They checked their passports at immigration. The passport expires next year. The passport expires next year.
ID.
Please show your ID at security. Please show your ID at security. They checked his ID before boarding. They checked his ID before boarding. The ID must be valid and not expired. The ID must be valid and not expired.
Luggage.
How many pieces of luggage are you checking? How many pieces of luggage are you checking? The luggage arrived safely at the destination. The luggage arrived safely at the destination. They're waiting for their luggage at baggage claim. They're waiting for their luggage at baggage claim.
Suitcase.
She packed her suitcase last night. She packed her suitcase last night. The suitcase is too heavy. The suitcase is too heavy. They're checking 2 suitcases. They're checking 2 suitcases.
Carry-on.
You can bring 1 carry-on bag. You can bring 1 carry-on bag. The carry-on must fit under the seat. The carry-on must fit under the seat. They're putting their carry-on in the overhead bin. They're putting their carry-on in the overhead bin.
To pack.
She needs to pack her suitcase. She needs to pack her suitcase. They packed everything last night. They packed everything last night. He's going to pack this morning. He's going to pack this morning.
To weigh.
They need to weigh your luggage. They need to weigh your luggage. The suitcase weighed 25 kilograms. The suitcase weighed 25 kilograms. He's going to weigh his bag at check-in. He's going to weigh his bag at check-in.
Weight limit.
The weight limit is 23 kilograms per bag. The weight limit is 23 kilograms per bag. They exceeded the weight limit and had to pay extra. They exceeded the weight limit and had to pay extra. The weight limit for carry-on is 10 kilograms. The weight limit for carry-on is 10 kilograms.
Overweight.
Your bag is overweight. Your bag is overweight. They charged extra for overweight luggage. They charged extra for overweight luggage. The suitcase is overweight by 5 kilograms. The suitcase is overweight by 5 kilograms.
Security.
We need to go through security before boarding. We need to go through security before boarding. The security line is very long. The security line is very long. They're waiting at security checkpoint. They're waiting at security checkpoint.
Security checkpoint.
Please remove your shoes at the security checkpoint. Please remove your shoes at the security checkpoint. They passed through the security checkpoint quickly. They passed through the security checkpoint quickly. The security checkpoint is ahead. The security checkpoint is ahead.
X-ray machine.
Put your bags on the X-ray machine. Put your bags on the X-ray machine. The X-ray machine detected something in the bag. The X-ray machine detected something in the bag. They're scanning luggage through the X-ray machine. They're scanning luggage through the X-ray machine.
Metal detector.
Walk through the metal detector. Walk through the metal detector. The metal detector beeped when he walked through. The metal detector beeped when he walked through. They're going through the metal detector one by one. They're going through the metal detector one by one.
To scan.
They need to scan your boarding pass. They need to scan your boarding pass. The security guard scanned all the bags. The security guard scanned all the bags. He's going to scan his passport at immigration. He's going to scan his passport at immigration.
Gate.
Our flight leaves from gate 12. Our flight leaves from gate 12. The gate is at the end of the terminal. The gate is at the end of the terminal. They're waiting at gate 5 for boarding. They're waiting at gate 5 for boarding.
Gate number.
What's the gate number for our flight? What's the gate number for our flight? The gate number is displayed on the screen. The gate number is displayed on the screen. They're looking for the gate number on their boarding pass. They're looking for the gate number on their boarding pass.
Boarding.
Boarding begins in 30 minutes. Boarding begins in 30 minutes. They announced the start of boarding. They announced the start of boarding. The boarding gate is now open. The boarding gate is now open.
To board.
We can board the plane now. We can board the plane now. They boarded the flight on time. They boarded the flight on time. He's going to board with Group 1. He's going to board with Group 1.
Boarding time.
The boarding time is 2:30 p.m. The boarding time is 2:30 p.m. They arrived early for the boarding time. They arrived early for the boarding time. The boarding time is printed on the boarding pass. The boarding time is printed on the boarding pass.
Departure.
The departure time is 3 p.m. The departure time is 3 p.m. They checked the departure board for updates. They checked the departure board for updates. The departure gate has changed. The departure gate has changed.
Departure time.
What's the departure time? What's the departure time? The departure time was delayed by 1 hour. The departure time was delayed by 1 hour. They're checking the departure time on the screen. They're checking the departure time on the screen.
Arrival.
The arrival time is 6 p.m. The arrival time is 6 p.m. They checked the arrival board for their flight. They checked the arrival board for their flight. The arrival gate is Terminal 3. The arrival gate is Terminal 3.
Arrival time.
What's the expected arrival time? What's the expected arrival time? The arrival time was delayed due to weather. The arrival time was delayed due to weather. They're waiting for the arrival time to be announced. They're waiting for the arrival time to be announced.
Delay.
The flight has a 30-minute delay. The flight has a 30-minute delay. They announced a delay due to mechanical issues. They announced a delay due to mechanical issues. The delay is expected to be 1 hour. The delay is expected to be 1 hour.
Delayed.
The flight is delayed by 45 minutes. The flight is delayed by 45 minutes. They were delayed due to bad weather. They were delayed due to bad weather. The departure is delayed until further notice. The departure is delayed until further notice.
On time.
The flight is on time. The flight is on time. They arrived on time for their flight. They arrived on time for their flight. We hope the flight departs on time. We hope the flight departs on time.
Cancelled.
The flight was cancelled due to the storm. The flight was cancelled due to the storm. They found out their flight was cancelled at the airport. They found out their flight was cancelled at the airport. The cancelled flight will be rescheduled. The cancelled flight will be rescheduled.
To cancel.
The airline had to cancel the flight. The airline had to cancel the flight. They cancelled their reservation. They cancelled their reservation. He's going to cancel his flight and get a refund. He's going to cancel his flight and get a refund.
Flight status.
Let's check the flight status on the screen. Let's check the flight status on the screen. The flight status shows it's on time. The flight status shows it's on time. They're monitoring the flight status for changes. They're monitoring the flight status for changes.
Departure board.
Check the departure board for your gate number. Check the departure board for your gate number. The departure board shows all flights leaving today. The departure board shows all flights leaving today. They're looking at the departure board for updates. They're looking at the departure board for updates.
Arrival board.
The arrival board shows when flights are landing. The arrival board shows when flights are landing. They checked the arrival board for their flight. They checked the arrival board for their flight. The arrival board is updated in real time. The arrival board is updated in real time.
Immigration.
We need to go through immigration after landing. We need to go through immigration after landing. The immigration line is very long. The immigration line is very long. They're waiting at immigration to have their passports checked. They're waiting at immigration to have their passports checked.
Customs.
We need to go through customs after immigration. We need to go through customs after immigration. The customs officer asked about their luggage. The customs officer asked about their luggage. They declared nothing at customs. They declared nothing at customs.
Customs officer.
The customs officer checked their declaration form. The customs officer checked their declaration form. They spoke with the customs officer about their purchases. They spoke with the customs officer about their purchases. The customs officer asked if they had anything to declare. The customs officer asked if they had anything to declare.
To declare.
Do you have anything to declare? Do you have anything to declare? They declared the items they purchased abroad. They declared the items they purchased abroad. He needs to declare anything over the duty-free limit. He needs to declare anything over the duty-free limit.
Duty-free.
They bought perfume at the duty-free shop. They bought perfume at the duty-free shop. The duty-free limit is $800 per person. The duty-free limit is $800 per person. They're shopping at the duty-free store before boarding. They're shopping at the duty-free store before boarding.
Baggage claim.
We need to go to baggage claim after customs. We need to go to baggage claim after customs. The baggage claim area is on the lower level. The baggage claim area is on the lower level. They're waiting at baggage claim for their suitcases. They're waiting at baggage claim for their suitcases.
Baggage carousel.
Our luggage is on baggage carousel 3. Our luggage is on baggage carousel 3. The baggage carousel started moving. The baggage carousel started moving. They're watching the baggage carousel for their bags. They're watching the baggage carousel for their bags.
Lost luggage.
They filed a report for lost luggage. They filed a report for lost luggage. The airline found their lost luggage the next day. The airline found their lost luggage the next day. They're going to the lost luggage office. They're going to the lost luggage office.
Plane.
The plane is boarding now. The plane is boarding now. They're waiting to board the plane. They're waiting to board the plane. The plane will take off in 20 minutes. The plane will take off in 20 minutes.
Aircraft.
The aircraft is ready for boarding. The aircraft is ready for boarding. They're inspecting the aircraft before departure. They're inspecting the aircraft before departure. The aircraft has 200 seats. The aircraft has 200 seats.
To take off.
The plane will take off at 3 p.m. The plane will take off at 3 p.m. They took off 15 minutes late. They took off 15 minutes late. The flight is about to take off. The flight is about to take off.
Takeoff.
The takeoff was smooth. The takeoff was smooth. They're preparing for takeoff. They're preparing for takeoff. The takeoff is scheduled for 2:45 p.m. The takeoff is scheduled for 2:45 p.m.
To land.
The plane will land at 6 p.m. The plane will land at 6 p.m. They landed safely despite the bad weather. They landed safely despite the bad weather. The flight is about to land. The flight is about to land.
Landing.
The landing was a bit rough. The landing was a bit rough. They're preparing for landing. They're preparing for landing. The landing is scheduled for 5:30 p.m. The landing is scheduled for 5:30 p.m.
Seat.
What's your seat number? What's your seat number? They're looking for their seat on the plane. They're looking for their seat on the plane. The seat is by the window. The seat is by the window.
Seat number.
My seat number is 12A. My seat number is 12A. They checked their seat number on the boarding pass. They checked their seat number on the boarding pass. The seat number is printed on your ticket. The seat number is printed on your ticket.
Window seat.
I prefer a window seat. I prefer a window seat. They got window seats for the flight. They got window seats for the flight. The window seat has a great view. The window seat has a great view.
Aisle seat.
He prefers an aisle seat for easy access. He prefers an aisle seat for easy access. They booked aisle seats for the long flight. They booked aisle seats for the long flight. The aisle seat makes it easier to get up. The aisle seat makes it easier to get up.
Middle seat.
Nobody likes the middle seat. Nobody likes the middle seat. They got stuck with middle seats. They got stuck with middle seats. The middle seat is the least comfortable. The middle seat is the least comfortable.
Overhead bin.
Put your carry-on in the overhead bin. Put your carry-on in the overhead bin. The overhead bin is full. The overhead bin is full. They're storing their bags in the overhead bin. They're storing their bags in the overhead bin.
Flight attendant.
The flight attendant helped with the luggage. The flight attendant helped with the luggage. They asked the flight attendant for a blanket. They asked the flight attendant for a blanket. The flight attendant announced the safety instructions. The flight attendant announced the safety instructions.
Pilot.
The pilot announced we'll be landing soon. The pilot announced we'll be landing soon. They thanked the pilot for a smooth flight. They thanked the pilot for a smooth flight. The pilot is preparing for takeoff. The pilot is preparing for takeoff.
Ticket.
Don't forget your ticket. Don't forget your ticket. They bought their tickets online. They bought their tickets online. The ticket shows the flight number and seat. The ticket shows the flight number and seat.
To book.
They need to book their flight soon. They need to book their flight soon. She booked the tickets last month. She booked the tickets last month. He's going to book a round-trip ticket. He's going to book a round-trip ticket.
Reservation.
Do you have a reservation? Do you have a reservation? They confirmed their reservation by phone. They confirmed their reservation by phone. The reservation is under my name. The reservation is under my name.
Round trip.
They bought round-trip tickets. They bought round-trip tickets. A round-trip ticket is cheaper than 2 one-way tickets. A round-trip ticket is cheaper than 2 one-way tickets. They're booking a round-trip flight to Madrid. They're booking a round-trip flight to Madrid.
One way.
They bought one-way tickets. They bought one-way tickets. A one-way ticket is more expensive per flight. A one-way ticket is more expensive per flight. They're purchasing one-way tickets for their trip. They're purchasing one-way tickets for their trip.
Connecting flight.
We have a connecting flight in Chicago. We have a connecting flight in Chicago. They missed their connecting flight due to delays. They missed their connecting flight due to delays. The connecting flight leaves from a different terminal. The connecting flight leaves from a different terminal.
Layover.
We have a 2-hour layover in Miami. We have a 2-hour layover in Miami. The layover is too short to leave the airport. The layover is too short to leave the airport. They're spending the layover in the airport lounge. They're spending the layover in the airport lounge.
Non-stop.
They prefer non-stop flights. They prefer non-stop flights. The non-stop flight takes 8 hours. The non-stop flight takes 8 hours. They're booking a non-stop flight to save time. They're booking a non-stop flight to save time.
Direct flight.
Is this a direct flight? Is this a direct flight? They found a direct flight to their destination. They found a direct flight to their destination. The direct flight is more expensive but faster. The direct flight is more expensive but faster.
Waiting area.
They're sitting in the waiting area near the gate. They're sitting in the waiting area near the gate. The waiting area has comfortable seats. The waiting area has comfortable seats. They're waiting in the waiting area for boarding to begin. They're waiting in the waiting area for boarding to begin.
Lounge.
They're relaxing in the airport lounge. They're relaxing in the airport lounge. The lounge offers free food and drinks. The lounge offers free food and drinks. They have access to the lounge with their frequent flyer status. They have access to the lounge with their frequent flyer status.
Restroom.
Where is the restroom? Where is the restroom? They're looking for the restroom before boarding. They're looking for the restroom before boarding. The restroom is near gate 10. The restroom is near gate 10.
Restaurant.
They're having lunch at the airport restaurant. They're having lunch at the airport restaurant. The restaurant is expensive but convenient. The restaurant is expensive but convenient. They're going to the restaurant to kill time before their flight. They're going to the restaurant to kill time before their flight.
Café.
They're getting coffee at the café. They're getting coffee at the café. The café has good pastries. The café has good pastries. They're meeting at the café before the flight. They're meeting at the café before the flight.
Duty-free shop.
They're shopping at the duty-free shop. They're shopping at the duty-free shop. The duty-free shop has good prices on perfume. The duty-free shop has good prices on perfume. They bought souvenirs at the duty-free shop. They bought souvenirs at the duty-free shop.
Information desk.
Let's ask at the information desk. Let's ask at the information desk. The information desk can help you find your gate. The information desk can help you find your gate. They're going to the information desk for directions. They're going to the information desk for directions.
Bonus examples.
Let's ask where the gate is. Let's ask where the gate is. They asked about the flight delay. They asked about the flight delay. He's going to ask for directions to the gate. He's going to ask for directions to the gate. We need to arrive at the airport 2 hours early. We need to arrive at the airport 2 hours early. They arrived at the gate just in time. They arrived at the gate just in time. The flight will arrive at 6 p.m. The flight will arrive at 6 p.m. We need to leave for the airport now. We need to leave for the airport now. They left the airport after picking up their luggage. They left the airport after picking up their luggage. The flight will leave on time. The flight will leave on time. We need to wait for our flight. We need to wait for our flight. They're waiting at the gate for boarding. They're waiting at the gate for boarding. He's going to wait in the lounge. He's going to wait in the lounge. We need to go to gate 12. We need to go to gate 12. They went through security quickly. They went through security quickly. He's going to go to the information desk. He's going to go to the information desk. Please come to gate 5 for boarding. Please come to gate 5 for boarding. They came to the airport early. They came to the airport early. He's going to come back after getting something to eat. He's going to come back after getting something to eat. We need to find our gate. We need to find our gate. They found their luggage at baggage claim. They found their luggage at baggage claim. He's going to find a place to sit. He's going to find a place to sit. We're looking for gate 8. We're looking for gate 8. They're looking for their boarding passes. They're looking for their boarding passes. He's going to look for a restroom. He's going to look for a restroom. Please show your boarding pass. Please show your boarding pass. They showed their passports at immigration. They showed their passports at immigration. He's going to show his ID at security. He's going to show his ID at security. We need to check in before security. We need to check in before security. They needed to change their flight. They needed to change their flight. He's going to need his passport for international travel. He's going to need his passport for international travel. I want a window seat. I want a window seat. They wanted to upgrade to first class. They wanted to upgrade to first class. He's going to want something to eat before the flight. He's going to want something to eat before the flight.
Visa.
Do you need a visa to enter that country? Do you need a visa to enter that country? They applied for a tourist visa last month. They applied for a tourist visa last month. The visa is valid for 90 days. The visa is valid for 90 days.
Travel insurance.
They bought travel insurance for their trip. They bought travel insurance for their trip. The travel insurance covers lost luggage. The travel insurance covers lost luggage. He's going to purchase travel insurance before leaving. He's going to purchase travel insurance before leaving.
Currency exchange.
They're going to the currency exchange to get local money. They're going to the currency exchange to get local money. The currency exchange rate is better at the airport. The currency exchange rate is better at the airport. They exchanged dollars at the currency exchange counter. They exchanged dollars at the currency exchange counter.
ATM.
There's an ATM near the check-in area. There's an ATM near the check-in area. They withdrew money from the ATM. They withdrew money from the ATM. He's going to use the ATM to get cash. He's going to use the ATM to get cash.
Baggage tag.
Make sure your baggage tag is attached securely. Make sure your baggage tag is attached securely. They put the baggage tag on their suitcase. They put the baggage tag on their suitcase. The baggage tag has the flight number on it. The baggage tag has the flight number on it.
Flight number.
What's your flight number? What's your flight number? The flight number is AA123. The flight number is AA123. They're looking for their flight number on the board. They're looking for their flight number on the board.
Destination.
What's your final destination? What's your final destination? The destination is Madrid, Spain. The destination is Madrid, Spain. They're flying to their destination via a connecting flight. They're flying to their destination via a connecting flight.
Origin.
The flight's origin is New York. The flight's origin is New York. They're checking flights from their origin city. They're checking flights from their origin city. The origin and destination are on the ticket. The origin and destination are on the ticket.
Departure gate.
The departure gate is gate 12. The departure gate is gate 12. They're heading to the departure gate now. They're heading to the departure gate now. The departure gate changed to gate 8. The departure gate changed to gate 8.
Arrival gate.
The arrival gate is in Terminal 3. The arrival gate is in Terminal 3. They're waiting at the arrival gate for their friends. They're waiting at the arrival gate for their friends. The arrival gate information is on the screen. The arrival gate information is on the screen.
Announcement.
There was an announcement about the gate change. There was an announcement about the gate change. They listened to the announcement carefully. They listened to the announcement carefully. The announcement said boarding would begin soon. The announcement said boarding would begin soon.
To announce.
They're going to announce the boarding soon. They're going to announce the boarding soon. The airline announced a delay. The airline announced a delay. He's going to announce the gate change. He's going to announce the gate change.
To reschedule.
They need to reschedule their flight. They need to reschedule their flight. She rescheduled the flight for next week. She rescheduled the flight for next week. He's going to reschedule due to the cancellation. He's going to reschedule due to the cancellation.
Refund.
They're requesting a refund for the cancelled flight. They're requesting a refund for the cancelled flight. The refund will be processed within 7 days. The refund will be processed within 7 days. He's going to get a refund for his ticket. He's going to get a refund for his ticket.
Upgrade.
They got an upgrade to business class. They got an upgrade to business class. The upgrade was free with their frequent flyer status. The upgrade was free with their frequent flyer status. He's going to request an upgrade at check-in. He's going to request an upgrade at check-in.
First class.
They're flying first class to celebrate. They're flying first class to celebrate. The first class seats are very comfortable. The first class seats are very comfortable. They upgraded to first class for the long flight. They upgraded to first class for the long flight.
Business class.
They booked business class tickets. They booked business class tickets. The business class section has more legroom. The business class section has more legroom. They're traveling in business class for work. They're traveling in business class for work.
Economy class.
They're flying economy class to save money. They're flying economy class to save money. The economy class seats are in the back of the plane. The economy class seats are in the back of the plane. They booked economy class tickets for the family. They booked economy class tickets for the family.
Emergency exit.
The emergency exit is located at the front and back of the plane. The emergency exit is located at the front and back of the plane. They're sitting near the emergency exit. They're sitting near the emergency exit. The flight attendant explained how to use the emergency exit. The flight attendant explained how to use the emergency exit.
Life vest.
The life vest is under your seat. The life vest is under your seat. They demonstrated how to put on the life vest. They demonstrated how to put on the life vest. The life vest must be worn during water landings. The life vest must be worn during water landings.
Oxygen mask.
Put on the oxygen mask if the cabin loses pressure. Put on the oxygen mask if the cabin loses pressure. The oxygen mask will drop down automatically. The oxygen mask will drop down automatically. They showed how to use the oxygen mask in the safety demonstration. They showed how to use the oxygen mask in the safety demonstration.
Seatbelt.
Please fasten your seatbelt. Please fasten your seatbelt. The seatbelt sign is on. The seatbelt sign is on. They kept their seatbelt fastened during turbulence. They kept their seatbelt fastened during turbulence.
Turbulence.
The flight experienced some turbulence. The flight experienced some turbulence. They're expecting turbulence due to the weather. They're expecting turbulence due to the weather. The turbulence made some passengers nervous. The turbulence made some passengers nervous.
Altitude.
The plane is flying at an altitude of 35,000 feet. The plane is flying at an altitude of 35,000 feet. They announced the cruising altitude. They announced the cruising altitude. The altitude will change as we approach the destination. The altitude will change as we approach the destination.
Runway.
The plane is on the runway ready for takeoff. The plane is on the runway ready for takeoff. They're clearing the runway for landing. They're clearing the runway for landing. The runway is wet from the rain. The runway is wet from the rain.
Control tower.
The control tower is directing air traffic. The control tower is directing air traffic. The pilot is communicating with the control tower. The pilot is communicating with the control tower. The control tower gave permission for takeoff. The control tower gave permission for takeoff.
To claim.
They need to claim their luggage at baggage claim. They need to claim their luggage at baggage claim. She claimed her suitcase from the carousel. She claimed her suitcase from the carousel. He's going to claim his lost luggage at the office. He's going to claim his lost luggage at the office.
To miss.
They're going to miss their flight if they don't hurry. They're going to miss their flight if they don't hurry. She missed the connecting flight due to delays. She missed the connecting flight due to delays. He's worried he'll miss the boarding time. He's worried he'll miss the boarding time.
Standby.
They're on standby for the next flight. They're on standby for the next flight. The standby list is long today. The standby list is long today. He's going to try to get on standby for an earlier flight. He's going to try to get on standby for an earlier flight.
Priority boarding.
They have priority boarding with their status. They have priority boarding with their status. The priority boarding group boards first. The priority boarding group boards first. They're eligible for priority boarding as frequent flyers. They're eligible for priority boarding as frequent flyers.
Frequent flyer.
As a frequent flyer, he gets special benefits. As a frequent flyer, he gets special benefits. They're enrolled in the frequent flyer program. They're enrolled in the frequent flyer program. The frequent flyer miles can be used for upgrades. The frequent flyer miles can be used for upgrades.
Miles.
They're earning miles with every flight. They're earning miles with every flight. The miles can be redeemed for free flights. The miles can be redeemed for free flights. He's going to use his miles to upgrade. He's going to use his miles to upgrade.
Loyalty program.
They're members of the airline's loyalty program. They're members of the airline's loyalty program. The loyalty program offers many benefits. The loyalty program offers many benefits. He's going to join the loyalty program to earn points. He's going to join the loyalty program to earn points.
To rebook.
They need to rebook their flight. They need to rebook their flight. She rebooked for a later date. She rebooked for a later date. He's going to rebook after the cancellation. He's going to rebook after the cancellation.
To change flights.
They need to change flights due to a schedule conflict. They need to change flights due to a schedule conflict. She changed flights to an earlier departure. She changed flights to an earlier departure. He's going to change flights at the counter. He's going to change flights at the counter.
Early check-in.
They're doing early check-in online. They're doing early check-in online. The early check-in saves time at the airport. The early check-in saves time at the airport. He's going to do early check-in 24 hours before the flight. He's going to do early check-in 24 hours before the flight.
Online check-in.
They completed online check-in yesterday. They completed online check-in yesterday. The online check-in is available 24 hours before departure. The online check-in is available 24 hours before departure. He's going to do online check-in to avoid the line. He's going to do online check-in to avoid the line.
Self-service kiosk.
They're using the self-service kiosk to check in. They're using the self-service kiosk to check in. The self-service kiosk prints boarding passes. The self-service kiosk prints boarding passes. He's going to use the self-service kiosk instead of waiting in line. He's going to use the self-service kiosk instead of waiting in line.
Baggage allowance.
The baggage allowance is one checked bag per person. The baggage allowance is one checked bag per person. They're checking their baggage allowance before packing. They're checking their baggage allowance before packing. The baggage allowance varies by airline. The baggage allowance varies by airline.
Excess baggage.
They have to pay for excess baggage. They have to pay for excess baggage. The excess baggage fee is $50 per bag. The excess baggage fee is $50 per bag. He's going to avoid excess baggage by packing lighter. He's going to avoid excess baggage by packing lighter.
To pay extra.
They had to pay extra for the overweight bag. They had to pay extra for the overweight bag. She's going to pay extra for a seat with more legroom. She's going to pay extra for a seat with more legroom. He had to pay extra for the additional suitcase. He had to pay extra for the additional suitcase.
Airport shuttle.
They're taking the airport shuttle to their hotel. They're taking the airport shuttle to their hotel. The airport shuttle runs every 30 minutes. The airport shuttle runs every 30 minutes. He's going to catch the airport shuttle at Terminal 2. He's going to catch the airport shuttle at Terminal 2.
Parking.
They're looking for parking near the terminal. They're looking for parking near the terminal. The parking rates are expensive at the airport. The parking rates are expensive at the airport. He's going to find long-term parking for his trip. He's going to find long-term parking for his trip.
Long-term parking.
They're leaving their car in long-term parking. They're leaving their car in long-term parking. The long-term parking is cheaper but farther away. The long-term parking is cheaper but farther away. He's going to use long-term parking for his week-long trip. He's going to use long-term parking for his week-long trip.
Short-term parking.
They're using short-term parking to pick someone up. They're using short-term parking to pick someone up. The short-term parking is more expensive but closer. The short-term parking is more expensive but closer. He's going to use short-term parking for a quick drop-off. He's going to use short-term parking for a quick drop-off.
Rental car.
They're picking up a rental car at the airport. They're picking up a rental car at the airport. The rental car counter is in the arrivals area. The rental car counter is in the arrivals area. He's going to return the rental car before his flight. He's going to return the rental car before his flight.
Hotel shuttle.
The hotel shuttle picks up guests every hour. The hotel shuttle picks up guests every hour. They're waiting for the hotel shuttle at the designated area. They're waiting for the hotel shuttle at the designated area. He's going to take the hotel shuttle to save money on a taxi. He's going to take the hotel shuttle to save money on a taxi.
Taxi.
They're taking a taxi to the airport. They're taking a taxi to the airport. The taxi stand is outside the terminal. The taxi stand is outside the terminal. He's going to call a taxi to pick him up. He's going to call a taxi to pick him up.
Ground transportation.
The ground transportation area is on the lower level. The ground transportation area is on the lower level. They're looking for ground transportation options. They're looking for ground transportation options. He's going to check the ground transportation information desk. He's going to check the ground transportation information desk.